2, 1. Hey, everybody, it's Mike from Here the Watchman. And, I'm with you today with a man who has dedicated his life to protecting our country. He's a U.S. Navy veteran. They were the taxi cab for the Marines, but we're not going to get into that. But he's a true American hero. Chance from American Survival Wholesale and Simply Clean Food. Chance, thank you for joining us.
Blessings, Mike. It's always an honor to come on the show and talk about information, relevant information that can help people make some decisions in the near future. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm just glad to be here.
Well, Chance, listen, you're a veteran. You dedicated your life to serving our country. And now you see what's going on in Washington, D.C., the swamp. And you see what's happening to our president. What is your opinion on what's happening right now? And what do we need to do as Americans to stand up and be accountable?
Well, first and foremost, we elect our senators and our congressmen, Mike, as officials and representatives of our state, of our areas, right? What I'm seeing is there's such a push by the left to impeach our president that nothing else is getting done. No bridges are being repaired or built. There's no roads being repaired or built. Nothing that is relevant to our country to benefit the people, the citizens of the United States is being done. It's nothing more than a witch hunt. It's disgusting, it's sickening, and I believe personally that if every one of your listeners were to write to their congressmen and their senators and say, enough, just stop it, okay? If you don't stop this witch hunt, if you don't start working for the people who elected you, you're out. Done. We're not going to elect you again.
Well, and Chance, that's the thing. People don't realize we have like Nancy Pelosi and all these people in office, and look at what's her name that wears the burqa, Oman. She's like in deep trouble right now. She's been accused of taking $150,000 in donations while she's sleeping with a lover. Okay, and not her husband. And maybe her husband might be her brother. We don't know. But, it's a complete mess in Washington, D.C. But as a veteran who fought for our country, what do we need to do to bring up Donald Trump, and what do we need to do to bring up America? You don't have to agree with Donald Trump. I'm not saying that. But as Americans, what do we need to do?
Well, number one, he is not perfect in any shape or form. That's absolutely true, okay? But he's also not bought and paid for, like many of the politicians that are representing us, right? So what do we have to do? We have to do the same thing that your parents did and my parents did when we were younger. We need to come together as a community and start talking about solutions. We need to come together as a remnant and start talking about solutions, okay? A sense of community is more important at a local level than anything else. We have power in numbers, okay? When I served, I did not do anything. There was no mission that we had as an individual. It was as a team. Everyone had a job. They trained for that job. They knew exactly what they were supposed to do, and they did it, okay? What's happening in our own community, and all the brothers and sisters in Christ out here, please listen. We are now a minority in the United States. We used to be a majority, but we're now a minority. And what do? We fight and argue about doctrine, right? Pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib,
And who cares about that? Listen, Chance.
Listen, I get it. I understand. I am a student as well, but I don't want to argue with you. I want to get to the truth. I want to get to the meat. I want to talk about the word. I want to have a better understanding. But we don't have time to complain and to argue about silly things that, in the end, if we just pay attention and we stay in the Word, we'll get the answers and the solutions to all of our problems.
Well,
I
listen,
like to say this, Mike.
chance.
Yes, sir.
We have been brothers for I don't know what, like since well, I mean a long time now,
Like 8 years.
yeah, like 8 years. Okay,
Mhm.
and you and I both are on the same page. I don't want to argue about the trib thing. I'm a pan tribber. I'm just going to keep serving Jesus, and however it pans out, that's how it is. I mean, I don't think that Jesus is going to pick the phone up and call me and say, "Hey, Mike, what do you think I should do? Should I come back or not? And should I wreak havoc or should I just come back and bless everyone?" That's not going to happen. But the important thing that you mentioned is that as Christians, especially today, we need to unite and we need to come together, but we need to be prepared because I'll tell you what, if Donald Trump wins the election, or if Donald Trump loses the election, as Coach Dave Dobbemeyer said, all hell will break loose. Either way, it doesn't matter. So, what do we do to prepare for what's to come?
It's a really good question. And this is what I was trained to do, both in the military and search and rescue, through scouting growing up. This is all we've ever done. This is all we talk about. It's so important to understand what's coming financially, especially in the very near future, could put you and your family in jeopardy. And folks, this is not fear porn. This is just the honest truth. Think about what will happen if the power goes out. How long will you last with the products, the food, the water, the things that you have in your home right now? How long will you last? How will you be able to feed your family? Knowing that the grocery store shelves will be emptied in less than 72 hours in your own neighborhood, right?
Well,
The
well,
way to do that,
well, but
the way to do that,
chance.
go ahead.
I got to stop you for a second. Let's step back. Folks, do you realize in most towns, if the power goes out, you won't be able to go to the grocery store? I mean, who can count change anymore, right? I mean, in my town, I mean, when you go to the grocery store and they count back your change, they count it back like we used to when we were kids. But there's not many towns like that. So, when that power goes out, you won't be able to get gas. You won't be able to go to the ATM. You won't be able to go to the grocery store. You can't do anything. Jeannie and I experienced that in Orange County when we used to live in that place. And we experienced that. The power went out there. Some idiot pulled the wrong plug in Arizona, and it took down the grid in all of California, or all of Southern California. So we had like 5 days with no power.
Yeah.
We couldn't go to the gas station. We couldn't go to the grocery store. Every Home Depot in Orange County, California was sold out on generators. So
That's right.
just think about it. What would happen in your own town if the lights went out? And Chance's dead on with this. I mean, this is not, we're not fear mongers. We're talking about reality. And it's going to happen. I mean, don't you think, Chance?
No, absolutely. I want to tell you a funny story. You're talking about not being able to use debit cards, credit cards, anything like that, because there's no way for these entities to accept it. This is actually a real story. I was at a grocery store locally in my town, and they rang up the bill, and I handed the guy a $20 bill, but then realized when I was digging in my pocket that I had a smaller bill and some change. So I handed the guy $10 and some change. He looked down because he had already put $20 in his register. He looked down and he looked at the change and called for his manager because he couldn't figure out that he owed me 13 cents. He couldn't figure it out. So the manager comes over and he looks down and he gets his phone out and brings out the calculator, right? And I'm thinking, what has happened to our school system? Why can't these kids count?
Well, and
Seriously.
that's the truth. I mean, do you remember, like when you and I got our first jobs, I worked in a grocery store. I was a box boy, and then I got promoted to a checker, and then I got promoted to night crew, and I made great money. But back then, if someone gave you $20 and their bill was 18, you'd count it back. You would say, okay, here's, 19, 20, there you go. You would count it back. They can't do that today. And so if the grid goes down, if there's no power, these millennials, sorry, don't want to bang on millennials, but these millennials, I'm going to bang on you, can't count change. They don't, if the computer doesn't tell them what to give you, they're just like, oh my God, I can't figure it out. And that, don't you think that's a problem, Chance, with America today?
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And again, we have to go back to these public school systems and look at the curriculum that they're putting in front of these kids. There's so much that they're pushing down the throats, and a lot of it has nothing to do with the history of the United States or just basic math. When I went to school, we had a class to be an entrepreneur, okay? They don't teach those classes in public schools, not that I'm aware of anymore, because they don't want you to be an entrepreneur. They want you to be a worker bee, working for the man, So things have changed quite a bit. But let's get back to preparation. So first, folks, what Mike was saying earlier is very important. Make sure that you have some cash on hand, okay? Don't become a part of this cashless society. Carry around at least $100 in small bills with you at all times, okay? Also, make sure that you have enough potable water in your home. You need to have 200 gallons of water for each person living in your home. If you call me,
and Chance, how long will that last?
That's a 30-day supply for one person.
So I mean, think about it, folks. I mean, 200 gallons only lasts 30 days. Figure it out. If it hits the fan, I mean, I don't know. You got to listen to Chance. You got to be prepared. What else, Chance?
Well, and remember, water's not just for drinking. It's for cooking, cleaning, and flushing, right? So that's why you need 200 gallons. I can teach you guys how to store it properly. I can teach you, what type of containers to store it in and how to get those containers practically free of charge, okay? But you have to give me a call. It's a one-on-one, and I'll show you guys how to do it. By the way, my phone number, if you guys want to reach out, not just for advice, but for prayer as well, 818-720-0759, 818-720-0759. If you need prayer, call us on Saturdays. That's our Sabbath, and we will definitely take your prayers to the Lord. Now let's move on to past water, food, folks. Mike, we've talked about this so many times. Folks, it is important to put the right food into your temple, into your body. If you put genetically modified food or food that's laced with preservatives and chemicals, some of which we can't even pronounce, you're going to get sick. It's going to slowly poison you. You wonder why, since the late 70s, autism has gone straight up. I mean, the graph shows straight up since genetically modified foods were introduced into our systems. ADHD among children, skyrocketing, okay? Cancer, skyrocketing. We have to take care of our bodies. Our food, and guys, this is not an infomercial, but I want you to know how important this is. Our food, Simply Clean Foods, has only one ingredient. It's the ingredient that you see right in front of you. Strawberries, or it's green beans, or it's cheddar cheese, roast beef, chicken, turkey, whatever that is, eggs. One ingredient, no preservatives. Grown in areas like Chile, where they've been growing food organically since the beginning of time. They don't call it organics, just generations, that's what they do. Unfortunately, most of the food, the crops here in the U.S., either contain GMOs or there is cross-pollination. It is almost impossible to buy GMO-free corn in the United States. We had to go outside to get true GMO-free corn.
Yeah, and Chance, that's important that you bring that up, because I get people, because Jeannie and I eat Simply Clean Foods. We use it. I mean, we use their corn. their raspberry. I mean, all their fruit, all of that stuff. We attest to the fact that it is an amazing product. But you know, Chance, I get emails from people all the time saying there's nothing there. I mean, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about because there is no GMO free corn. So you went out of the United States to get GMO free corn?
You don't have a choice. It's like soy. Soy and corn are the two worst. The cross pollination is so bad. 99% of the farms in the United States to grow corn, they're doing it for the ethanol, right? They're doing it for these big companies that are producing a cheaper fuel, right? And by the way, that fuel is not so good for your car, so be careful with that. So that's what's going on. Yeah, it's profitable for the farmers to grow massive crops of corn, but it's not edible. It's not safe for the human body. Glyphosate now, the FDA has said this. Glyphosate is considered to be a carcinogen. A carcinogen causes cancer in the human body, right? Hello. So why would we put food that's laced with these pesticides like glyphosate into our bodies? It's not necessary. You don't need to do it. You can eat clean. Yes, our food does have a 25-year shelf life. You can store it. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. However, we have folks that are using our food every day. We have senior citizens who can't get to the store every day. So they open up some of our strawberries. Maybe they make a smoothie in the morning. They take out only what they want. It's resealable here at the top. It's resealable. You can store it now once it's open for another 6 months and have that time to use the rest of that product. You know, think about grocery stores. You go buy broccoli from Whole Foods, for example. You take it home. You have some for dinner. You come back 3 or 4 days later, and it's got mold, like penicillin growing on it. It's right, it's scary. Our food, 6 months, not a problem. You can use it over and over again. Also, think about food for long-term storage. If you buy that food and you store it in your home, 10 years down the road, that same food that you stored is going to cost you probably 10 times more because food prices don't go down, right? They only go up.
Yeah, but so, I mean, Chance, here's the important thing, okay? Folks, listen. He's not just pushing like food in bags to try and make money. He's trying to equip you for what's to come. Think about this for just a minute. What if you couldn't go to the grocery store and get anything to eat? That's a very real possibility. I mean, where I live up here, we don't really worry about that because we all have guns, and guns up here are not a weapon, they're a tool. And we would shoot whatever we needed to eat up here. But, I mean, think about in Los Angeles, let's say. If you couldn't go to the grocery store, what would you do? And Chance's food, like I said, I mean, Jeannie and I have his eggs, the Simply Clean Food eggs. If we run out of eggs, we will make that stuff that he has. I'm telling you, it's just as good as anything that you can get at the grocery store. And, you know, if you don't live in an area like we do, where you can get raw food, I just bought a side of beef the other day, a grass-fed, no hormones, nothing, just a real cow, you know, or I can buy eggs that are like, you know, they just came out of the chicken. They're the real deal. But right. You might not live in an area like that. So what you need to do is you need to get in touch with Chance and you need to get this product because, I don't want to, and we don't ever at Hear the Watchman or on my YouTube channel, we don't ever push anything on anyone. But I'm telling you, my best advice to you is call him, talk to him, get with him, and figure out what it is you need just in case. Chance, how do people get a hold of you?
So the best way is to go to www.simplycleanfoods, that's plural, simplycleanfoods.net. You can reach out to me, 818-720-0759. That's 818-720-0759. or send us an email at simplycleanfoods@chef, like a cook, chef.net, simplycleanfoods@chef.net. We want to do one more thing for your listeners. Folks, if you use the code HTW, lowercase HTW, you can save 10% on even our packages that are already discounted. Okay, so HTW saves 10%. Any orders over $100 or more, you get a free water filtration straw, which is different than a bottle because you can use this to drink out of a puddle. Seriously, drink out of a puddle. It filters out heavy metals. It's so advanced. It filters out the tiniest sediment, chlorine. It's amazing. It's an amazing straw. You're going to get that free of charge, plus 10% off on any orders over $100 or more. If you don't use the HTW code, you will not receive these things. Okay, so you must use that code HTW for 10% off. And folks, he is right. What is most important is that this is not our company. This is God's company. We gave it over to him a long time ago. The profits from our company not only support Hear the Watchman, but they also support our Veterans Outreach Program. Guys, we have veterans right now, and look at me, I'm telling you, this is a real situation, that are living in areas around the East Coast. They cannot pay their utility bills, so they are not turning on their heat. These guys are freezing. They served our country with honor and pride, honorably discharged, and they can't even stay warm at night, and they ask for a little bit of help. So please, go to simplycleanfoods.net, use that promo code HTW. If you want to, you can go to our parent company, AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com, and you can help a veteran there as well. But just remember, these guys put their lives on the line for us and myself so that we can have this conversation today.
Well, I mean, Chance, you have to realize, and folks, you really need to pay attention to this. Jeannie and I started an organization called snowballexpress.org, and we gave it to the Gary Sinise Foundation. Gary Sinise is like amazing. He's running with it. He's equipping that organization. What we did was we brought every single widow and child of anyone killed serving our country post 9/11 out to Orange County, California. And we brought them out there. We took them to Disneyland. We had a big party. It was great, right? And that wasn't about us. That's not about Jeannie and I. That's a God thing. But what you have to realize is that any country that fails to take care of its veterans is doomed to fail. And that was Abraham Lincoln that said that. And you need to wake up in the morning. When you go out, here's what I do. Every day in my little town here, if I see a guy wearing a baseball hat like Chance is wearing right now, that if it says, a Vietnam veteran and it has the colors, and they have colors, if it has the colors, and I walk up to them and I shake their hand and I say, thank you. Thank you so much for your service and welcome home. That's what we all need to do. And Chance is providing an opportunity where you can take care of yourself and also help veterans. So again, Chance, give us, again, the websites people need to go to.
To get the food, to get the tea, our new matcha tea. By the way, folks, this is amazing. This vacuum container, it comes free with your tea. To get the matcha tea, to get the food, go to simplycleanfoods.net. If you want free advice, give me a call at 818-720-0759. We'll schedule a time that we can talk. If you want to help the veterans, you can go to our parent company, which is AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com. All the information is there if you want to help our veterans and keep them warm this winter. I hope to see all of you very soon in Dallas. If the Lord is willing, I might have 15 or 20 minutes to speak on the dangers of GMOs and what you can do to get your body clean again. And it's just going to be an amazing conversation. So I really look forward to seeing you all and hopefully able to pray with you as well.
Now, folks, You all think when we talk to someone like Chance, oh, it's all about money, it's all about selling stuff. Wrong. Let me tell you, what Chance hasn't mentioned today, Chance sends Bibles to people who can't afford a Bible all over the country. He pays for it himself. Now, how does he do that? I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what. If you support his company and if you buy your survival food or your survival supplies from Chance at AmericanSurvivalWholesale.com or SimplyCleanFoods.net, if you go there and support him, I'm telling you, you're doing a good thing for God. You are providing a man who's dedicated to providing a Bible to every single person in America that needs one. So get busy, get out there, activate it. Chance, thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate being on. And listen, the greatest gift, we take give all the honor to God, because this was the Lord's idea, the Bible drive. The greatest gift that you can give to another person is the Word of God, period, end of story. It's the greatest gift. So if you have a Bible, an extra Bible, and you know someone that needs a Bible that can use that helping hand, to lift them up, give them a Bible. It's just the greatest thing that you can do for Christmas or any other time of the year, is to give the Word of God to someone. So I give all the honor to the Lord for that, because He put that on our heart.
Well, amen, and thank you so much for what you're doing. Listen, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Watchman's Report. Remember, like I always say when I close my show, there is absolutely nothing you can't do with Jesus in your heart, except nothing at all. Get busy, call Chance, activate your faith, make a difference in what's happening in our world today. It's up to you. God will teach you, God will show you. Pray, but listen as well. We'll see you next time here on the Watchman's Report.